Come in.
Dad.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey. Dad. Bluey's in a car crash.
Bluey was in a car crash?
Yeah. Tell me what happened. I need to know if she's okay.
Boys, you know I can't talk about this as a paramedic.
But you're a nurse now. Aren't you?
Boys, sit down. We're gonna have a talk.
Here.
So, like a paramedic, there's ethical and legal considerations with nursing informatics. So I'm gonna talk to you about that, okay? So, part of the ANA is a confidentiality, and as a nurse, we must abide by confidentiality for the patient. And not only is this ethically responsible, but do you know the Ohio Administrative Code 4723-4-03 is an actual law that says I have to keep confidentiality for the patients.
Really?
I can't talk about the patients. It's by law.
Man.
It actually says a registered nurse shall maintain the confidentiality of the patient information, shall communicate patient information with other members of the healthcare team for healthcare personnel only. And do you know it actually says I shall not disseminate patient information for the purposes other than patient care?
Wow.
That means I can't talk about it.
Aw. We need to know if she's okay.
Well, some other things I'm going to talk about from Sewell, our text, says that if I do talk about it, do you know what will happen? I could go to jail.
What?
I could actually go to jail.
Really?
And civilly I could be charged. And you know what they could do? Fine me. They could fine me, they could fine my hospital.
That's not good.
So we can't talk about our patients. So also says privacy and confidentiality for a nurse is a must. And confidentiality is a very important part of patient care. And some of the things we do with informatics, that's our using our computers and all the digital technology, we have to maintain that. And one of the things we do when we log in, we have to use passwords.
Passwords?
So we have a certain screen name to log in, then we have to use passwords. And do you know passwords now consist of uppercase, lowercase, special characters, and they have to be a certain length now. You can have a password this long.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me.
That way, if somebody makes it more difficult for somebody to get in and see that patient you're working on, because that is patient confidentiality.
Okay.
We frequently change the passwords. So every 45 to 90 days, we're required new passwords to help that. When I'm on my computer at work, some of the things we have is an automatic log off. So if I step away from my computer and I forget and leave the screen up, it'll time out and turns off. That way nobody can walk by and see if Bluey was my patient, they couldn't see what was going on with that patient. But do you know the most secure method for protecting that is biometrics? Because sometimes when you put in your big long password, it could be time consuming. So they've created these new biometrics where it reads your fingerprints.
Wow.
So I could type in my name and then put on my fingerprint and it'll pop that chart right open for me.
That's super cool.
Speed up the process. And only one person has the same fingerprints, so you can't get into somebody else's.
Wow.
So some other things we do for data security breaches is we shred documents. We don't just put the papers that we use in the trash because somebody could get in that trash and see that. So we shred those documents. We put them in a lockbox. Some ethical considerations. We don't post on social media. Remember like mom's Facebook, our Facebook and our Twitter? We don't put anything with the patient on there because of the way it could be interpreted. Even if you don't put the patient's name, but stuff about it, you don't want to do that because it can be misinterpreted. And once it's on the internet, everybody sees it.
Yeah.
Some other ethical considerations are wearables. Do you know what those are?
No. Can you tell me about it?
Remember when Dad got his glasses, those glasses you tried on that had the cameras and you could hear music?
Oh, yeah.
So doctors and nurses are using those now.
Wow.
They would do patient care and then they go back to their office to transcribe, and it makes it easier so they don't miss anything. But some considerations people could use those as spy or steal or invade someone's privacy. So you got to be really careful with some considerations when using wearables. So as a nurse, it's up to me to be responsible so nobody gets into those records and protects that patient's privacy. I'm ethically and legally responsible for doing so. You don't want to get me in trouble and go to jail, right?
Right.
Okay, that's why we don't talk about Bluey being in the hospital or why I won't look for her.
Okay. Thanks for teaching us about this, Dad.